I was thinking of the topic for today, and I hadn't really pinned it down. So for Wellness Wednesday, I was a little bit at a loss at what I should talk about today, and I was also tired. And when I went on TikTok, I saw this young lady saying that she was entering hospice, and she did not look well. And as I listened to her, I got a little bit sadder because she looked very young to me and she didn't look so healthy. And usually, when you enter hospice, it usually means that you have days left to live. I became more interested in her story. And going back to her posting, I discovered that she was diagnosed about 2.5 years ago with stage 4 colon cancer. And she went through various chemotherapy treatments that were not successful. The cancer continued to grow to the point that she is now posting that she's entering hospice. She's exhausted clinical trials. So it appeared to have been a very mentally difficult, if not physically exhausting, 2.5 years for her. And the end result is still not good. And I thought of something that I've heard people say in the past. Patients of mine have said the same thing, that the cancer was the best thing that could have happened to them. And that always hit me as a little bit odd. Like, how can cancer, a potentially deadly disease, be the best thing that can happen to you? And the only way I can think about it is that these people may have had difficulties or problems in their lives, and this cancer did make them appreciate what they had. But do you need to wait to be at that point? And this brought to mind a book I read by Paulo Coelho. He's a very famous Brazilian author who wrote the famous book called The Alchemist. Almost everyone in the world has read The Alchemist. So his books are very short. They're not long dissertations. But interesting about his book is that they're not just a novel. They tend to tell a tale. And I always find myself making notes as I read his books, because some of his sentences are just so poignant and so illuminating to me, and they just touch me very in a special way. So I tend to keep my journal next to me, and I will write down a sentence or two as I read his book. So it takes me a little bit longer to get through. But his book that I would like to talk to you about is called Veronica Decides to Die. She's a 24-year-old who decided her life was too boring and too routine, and she just wanted to die. So she went through the process of trying to die by suicide, but unfortunately she woke up in a mental hospital. And during the process of, it took a few days for her to wake up out of her coma, she was told that she terminally damaged her heart and she had less than a week to live. And initially she accepted that decision because, hey, she did want to die by suicide, right? But instead, she's indirectly dying as a consequence of her actions. But during the week, she also experienced a couple of heart attacks, which were induced by this physician. And so Veronica completely bought into the story that she was dying. Interestingly enough, as the days progressed, she had a change of heart. She decided that she wanted to live, and since she only had a limited time, she was going to make the best out of it. All her life growing up, she wanted to be a pianist, but her mom had talked her out of it because a pianist does not make any money. She should choose something practical. Have you ever been told that before? So her dreams were dashed, and she became a sensible librarian, a profession that she hated. She didn't find joy at all in being a librarian. So when she discovered she was dying, there was a piano at the mental institution, and so she decided to play the piano, which brought a lot of the other patients around her to listen to her beautiful music. Interestingly enough, while she had this new take on life, the other patients who were there for various psychiatric problems felt better. Their conditions improved. As a matter of fact, 2 of the patients went home because they decided a life outside the hospital was worth taking a chance on. And so they left. So Veronica had a change of heart, whereas this young lady who doesn't want to die has no option. My question to you is, must you wait until you're on your deathbed to realize that you are not a cast member in the movie or the series The Walking Dead? Do you want to be at that point? Do you want to be given no option? And so while we have the gift of life, and many of us don't have to deal with the potential imminent death that this young lady on TikTok is facing, we should wake up every day and be grateful. That's what I've talked to you about many times in the past. We should take each day as a gift. And so it's not repetitive to say it over and over again, because there are different ways that we walk around as if we don't appreciate life. We don't want to have to be this young lady. And my message to you is, do what you have to do, change what you have to do to make sure that you enjoy the day that you were given. And that's my message to you today.